Hey everyone, so welcome to Ringside with Ruth. I'm back, and on Saturday we had a great fight. Jack Catterall versus Regis Prograis. Now, this fight, I think it was a long time coming because I think we were basically all waiting for Jack to be given the opportunity to show that he should be given a world title fight, which is a bit crazy, really, when you think of it, because obviously he had those two fights with Josh Taylor. The first one, massively controversial. He should have been given the nod, but he wasn't. And if he had been given that nod, he would have been undisputed world champion. And then he goes into the rematch and wins. So really, this guy has kind of gone through a lot. He's been through it. Now he's after Saturday had a great win over another world-class fighter. So after that, I think we can all clearly say this guy deserves a world title fight. So yeah, that's two signature wins for Jack. And the fight itself, I thoroughly enjoyed. Going into it, I kind of thought, right, we've got two southpaws here. They could cancel each other out. It might be a bit of a stinker. But the first few rounds were definitely a bit cagey. I think what we saw was Prograis trying to push the fight. It kind of looked like Jack's timing was a little bit off. But then as the fight progressed, we kind of saw Jack's timing come into play and he kind of started to dominate a little bit. The first half of the fight, I was kind of thinking, wow, Prograis could do this. He was kind of almost rushing forward, throwing big over the top backhands, and having a lot of success. But what we saw from Jack was, to be honest, in the whole fight, start to finish, we saw a lot from Jack. But what we saw in terms of what my favourite thing we saw from him was he was so patient. He could have panicked. He got that knockdown. And that could have been really pivotal in the fight. And he could have panicked. He could have kind of thought, right, I need to change the game plan, but he didn't. He stuck with his game plan, and it paid off in the end. He was really, really smart. He kind of waited for his timing to come in, waited for Prograis to start making more mistakes, and then really capitalised on that, as I'd say, from the seventh round onwards. And he also really hurt Prograis. Prograis done so well to come up from those shots. I also come out of that fight thinking, wow, Prograis is such a great fighter, such a great character, and it's a real shame that we possibly might lose him from boxing. He kind of hinted towards retiring, but then I think he's kind of taken that back now, so we'll see. But yeah, I think Jack's jab was great in the first half of the fight. Again, definitely in the first few rounds, we saw a little bit of a battle of the jab, and possibly Prograis got the better of it in the first few rounds. But as the rounds went on, Jack kind of took over. His footwork was there. He was kind of shuffling around the ring. And what we saw from Prograis was he did not stop moving to his right, which I think kind of backfired on him as the fight went on. But yeah, I mean, I was really impressed. Really, really impressed. I think after that fight, Jack's stock would have gone way up. I think before this fight, he was definitely kind of like, he was dangerous. He was dangerous. There's no two ways about it. So, but at the same time, not a massive name. So why would these big names out there or the champions out there want to take him on? They wouldn't. Why would they? But after this fight, you kind of look at it and think, you know what, this guy, he's entertaining. He can bang. I think his punch power is underrated. He's patient. He sticks to a game plan. He's clever. So I mean, yeah, I think he would have gained a lot of fans, Catterall, after Saturday. And you've got to say that world title fight has got to be next. Now, when you look at the world champions in his weight division, there's a few out there, and a few people have been mentioning Teofimo Lopez. Now, as much as I do get excited about that fight, I'm a massive Lopez fan. I would rather he waited until after he's won Jack. I would rather Jack waited until after he's won a title and then go on to a unification fight with Lopez. The reason being, I feel like their styles really are not made for each other. I think both camps would look at that fight and think, oh, what way is that going to go? Obviously, they're going to go in there with their game plans, but both men, I think, fight, Lopez and Catterall fight better when they've got someone coming at them. We've seen it with them. Taylor is a perfect example. They both performed great against Taylor. And why? Because Taylor comes forward. He makes the fight happen. So they can be patient. They can time them. And that's who they like to fight. However, if they were to fight each other, they'd have two southpaws who like to box on the back foot, who like to they play it a little bit cagey. So I'd rather he waited until maybe that's a unification fight. Now, the fight I'd love to see him take first is Liam Parrow. Now, Parrow comes to fight. He's got that kind of almost typical Australian grit. He wants to push the tempo. He wants to get up close and personal. And I think that would really work for Catterall. I'm not saying it'd be an easy fight because it definitely wouldn't, but I think that's the one that he should be taking. Obviously, Parrot's got Hitchinson to get through first, and I'm not saying that's a given. It's not. That's going to be a really hard fight, but it's an interesting weight division, and I think there's a lot of really great fighters there, and hopefully within the next 2 years they all start fighting each other. But no, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think a lot of people thought that maybe this fight would maybe be a bit boring, maybe they'd cancel each other out, but actually I think, especially after the first few rounds, it kind of caught fire, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, really, really great fight. Glad to see, or I'm hoping at least, that Catterall starts getting a bit more of his flowers. He definitely deserves it. But yeah, interested to see where he takes his career from now on.